Welcome to your Magical Life podcast,
a sacred space to explore, create, and manifest more magic into your daily life.
I'm Crystal, homeschool mom to 2 wildlings and lover of all things witchy and magical.
And I'm Ash, your resident art witch and priestess, helping you trust your intuition through art and divination.
Hey Ash, how are you?
I am doing good. This has been a good week so far, and it definitely feels like we're getting closer to spring season.
Yeah, the wheel is turning again. Here we are approaching Imbolc, which is the one right before the Spring Equinox, which is when we started this all. So we have come full circle. I cannot believe that we did it. We finished a thing. We did every single Sabbat.
We did. It's been a year since we started planning. We started planning around this time last year. And if I remember right, I asked you right after you had set plans for whatever you were creating for that year. And then I came along and said, hey, you want to start a podcast?
Yeah, it was such perfect timing. We launched the podcast on Ostara. So that was one of our first podcast episodes was all about Ostara. And we had, it was Imbolc, just the 6 weeks before that we had started talking about the idea, planning it, and planting those seeds. And I love that planning and planting are such similar words because it really is when you plan something, you're just planting that seed. And we don't have to necessarily take action on it. The action comes in spring. So if you're not yet ready to do all the things, that's okay. But the ideas are starting to percolate. We've been resting, during winter, and now we're starting to get that energy back. The sap is starting to flow into the trees and the brain dendrites again. And we're getting all these ideas. And I just heard it kind of described as the childhood, the human stage of childhood, where Imbolc is when you get to explore all the things, all the ideas without committing to one. Just go have fun, see what sparks your joy. And that can kind of lead you to maybe the goals and the action that you'll be taking in the spring, but nothing has to be set in stone right now. And I thought that was kind of a neat way to talk about it.
Well, that sounds like my perfect holiday. Then I get to try all the things. I don't have to commit to any of them, and I get to just jump from topic to topic. ADHD brain.
Totally, it works for me too. You wanna know something, though, that I don't like about this holiday?
That it's the cleaning holiday because I love that I'm getting rid of
Oh my
everything.
oh my gosh, how did you know? It's the cleaning holiday. Nobody told me that there was, there's the witch's New Year, and there's the witch's this, there's the witch's cleaning holiday. I missed that memo, so apparently, we're supposed to deep clean, spring clean, purge, reset all your altars, your wards, your protections, and get out I've heard even soak sage in your mop water so that you're saging your whole house as you're cleaning it, energetically cleaning and physically cleaning.
Exactly. Or peppermint on the door and just
Mm.
wash everything out. And I wouldn't say I'm particularly good at cleaning, but I love to purge random things that I've collected over the year that I never really used.
Well, I do not love it. I do not love it. However, my soul, my being has been called to purge and do this kind of naturally, which is so funny because as I get more in tune with nature and the moon cycles, the Sabbats, the wheel of the year, I realize that every fiber of me wants to live this way in line with nature. I hate cleaning, but I found myself wanting and needing to purge and clean in these past couple weeks. And then I started reading about Imbolc and I'm like, it's the cleaning holiday. This is where spring cleaning began. Mind
Yeah.
blown.
That's so funny. Yeah, I remember growing up all around this time of year, once it warmed up just enough to have the windows open, it would still be chilly, but you could have the windows open. My grandmother was cleaning everything. Like we had like those I think they're called like Holland shades or something that like a plasticky material. Like she'd have those down and like be washing those front and back and like every window and I mean, she was cleaning everything. Like the house smelled like a cleaning supply.
Wow. And I love that you mentioned, peppermint on the door.
Mm,
So that symbolizes, like, luck and abundance, right? It helps bring that in as
yeah,
well? That's so
exactly.
cool. I
Yeah.
love that.
Yeah. It's
Um
all about, I mean, like you have to get rid of some things to welcome something new in. Like you can't just keep bringing in and in and in and in. You have to let go of some things. So sometimes it might just be like emotional
mm.
getting rid of, or it might be if you have like way too many services on your plate or in your business, you're just not super excited about, like, get rid of some of those, like, just open up that space and that possibility.
I love that. I mean, because that's really, working with the moon cycles, same thing. On the new moon, you set the intention. On the full moon, you kind of, evaluate and release, and you can't just always set new intentions, new intentions, new intentions. You do have to have that release to make room for energetically or physically the new stuff. And that is actually what prompted my big purge was Christmas, holidays, all the presents, all the toys, and then my daughter's birthday was right before it, so I was like, "If we have all this coming in, we gotta get rid of and purge what because otherwise we're gonna drown in tiny objects." Like, so
Yes.
and I started with their toys, but then I went into my crystals too, organized them all, see what I have, see, and decided that actually I want to do something with these crystals, and so I got a little jewelry making kit, and I'm starting to explore doing something with the things that I already have, So,
That's awesome.
that's one of my little things that I'm gonna play with this, cross quarter. This is a cross quarter holiday, by the way. There's the big, solstices, winter solstice, summer solstice, and then we have, the equinoxes, opposite that, spring and fall, and then these are the cross quarter days, that we're talking about in bulk is on February 1st. Sometimes it's between February 1st and 3rd, I heard, but February
Yeah.
1st this year. And I was reading that a lot of the traditions that you can do, actually, you could do it on the eve of, as we've been talking about with a lot of the Sabbats, it's not just the day that's important, but the eve leading up to as well. So that spring cleaning, you can be doing that, on the day of, but also the days leading up to it as well.
For sure. All of these habits are all celebrations. Like, you gotta work with your schedule, your energy, all of that. For 2024, it is a Thursday. So, like, you might be working on Thursday, but, that weekend, the 3rd and 4th,
Yeah,
you can spring
absolutely.
clean, or the weekend
Absolutely.
before. This coming weekend, you
Right.
can spring clean.
Yeah, definitely, definitely. And I think it's all about honoring and pausing our busy, busy lives where, I mean, wasn't it just Halloween, Christmas, all these other holidays, you know what I mean? And like they're just throwing at you Valentine's Day is coming up, all these, card holidays, It's
Oh my
like it
goodness,
never
yeah.
stops. And so I think it's really important to pause, see what is nature doing, and Imbolc is about that turn to spring, the return of the light after the winter
Yeah,
solstice, after the dead of winter, the cold, the ice, the snow, the rest, the recharge. Again, we're not jumping to action. That's spring, but this is that middle where we're starting to turn, we're starting to see the signs. Shoots aren't starting to come up yet, but we are starting to plant those seeds um, for your ideas. And this is also a fire, one of the 4, although I feel like they all have fire, but it says it's one
yeah.
of the 4 Celtic fire festivals as well. So fire is important here.
Yeah. Here in my area of the world, northern Wisconsin, last year and in previous years, I've tried like actually starting seeds on Imbolc, um, but that isn't with our seasons. Like, this is the season or the time of year where like you collect the seeds, you bless the seeds, you figure out what seeds you are going to plant. And then the next turn of the wheel, when we get to
Ostara.
Ah, Ostara, then you can, like, actually start planting the seeds, so depending on where you
Oh,
are, shifts a little bit
great.
too.
And I love that you said that, like, it's time to bless the seeds, and I think that is what we did actually last in bulk when we decided to start this podcast was kind of like bless the seed of the podcast, like just kind of
Yeah,
the idea of it, and like you said, decide which of the seeds you want to plant. As I was talking about, this is a time for exploring and playing and just seeing where does your soul, like, pull you to. Like, I just joined an astrology class. Like, I've been not, I don't know too much about astrology, but I'm learning now because something in me said, go that way. And if you just listen to the like little breadcrumbs, the whispers of your soul, who knows in this year, I might develop and become an astrologer. I don't know. I don't know what the seed is. That the seed I'm going to plant? Or maybe in these first couple months, I'm like, the astrology is interesting. But actually, I have this rune deck on my heart, which is another idea I have. And I've been playing with your little circle cards and coming
yes.
up with different ways for me to learn the runes. And that seed, as I work on it and draw the cards, may eventually this year get planted and become a full on deck that I sell. I have no idea. I'm just at this point playing with all the ideas, and there's a lot of things to explore this next coming season.
Yeah, I definitely have all of the ideas coming into I remember asking you at the start of this month, like, "Hey, can we get together? Because I have no idea what to do." And now that I'm looking back at it, it's like, of course I didn't know what to do. It was the middle of winter. It was dark. It was cold.
Mhm.
I had just gotten through, Yule and Christmas and all of that craziness. Like, of course, I was just sitting there like, because
Right.
now all the ideas are coming in and starting to flow and like things are already moving and getting
Yeah, job
started. So,
offers and
yeah,
different things that seem like there was no hope. Like, when you're in the dead of winter, isn't that just how it feels? Things are dark, it seems like things are never gonna grow again. Like, it's just so dark and cold, you can't see your way out, you can't see the light. But that's what's so beautiful about recognizing these Wheel of the Year holidays is that somehow honoring them, it just keeps time moving forward. It keeps you looking forward, not to the next year, not to 5 years from now, like, what's my big plans, but just next 6 weeks, It makes it easier. Or the moon cycle, the next 2 weeks, What am I
yeah,
doing? What am I focusing on? Bridget, I wanted to go back to Bridget for a minute because she is huge in this, holiday here, or Sabbat. She is Brigid or Brigid, a Celtic goddess, and she is a triple goddess, which represents the maiden, the mother, and the crone, all in one energy, how we all go through those different levels. But she also was adopted into Christianity. So she is also Saint Bridget, and they have a day, I think it might be the same day, that honors and celebrates her as well. But you can see here the eternal flame. She's always seen, with the fire here ignite every card that I have with her here. So it's definitely fire is a
oh,
theme and
yeah,
bringing that, light. This one says release your potential, enlightenment, inner peace, and then inner strength. So those are all things that
yeah,
she represents. Highly recommend if you're not familiar with her to go out, research her. And for an altar idea, many people create their Imbolc altars kind of honoring Bridget with the color green, with fire, with a Brigid's cross. I don't know if you've ever seen or made these. I did these with my
I
kids. So we
haven't.
used pipe cleaner because that's
Well,
what we had. It's traditionally done with straw, reeds, natural materials, and things like that. But you can find an easy online tutorial for how to bend them, and it's very simple. You can make it elaborate, you can make it simple, but it's just a symbol of Brigid, and you can put those in your on your altar, and then you can hang them in your kitchen to kind of bless throughout the year as well.
yeah, I heard some people put them like above their doors. So
Oh,
anyone in and out kind of get that energy as well.
that's really cool. That's really cool. Um, I think that there's what was I gonna say about Bridget too that was so interesting to me? Oh, her healing cloak. Oh my gosh. Okay, guys.
Oh,
I knew
yeah.
I had written something so interesting in my notes that I had to share with you, and it's her healing cloak. So, on the eve of Imbolc, you set out a cloth. It could be a cloak, it could be a headscarf, it could be a washcloth, any sort of cloth, and you lay it out outside to collect the moonlight and Goddess Brigid's blessing. And then it is and I did this with a blanket, and, anytime my kids were not feeling well, I'd put that blanket on them, or if I had a headache, put it on your head, and I really did feel the healing energy of Brigid come, and that was a really fun thing to do with the kids, and then anytime they were sick too, they'd be like, I need the, the healing blanket or, Brigid's blanket," and I loved that.
That's so awesome. I had seen that too. I like that idea, like creating something that you bring with you throughout the year,
Mhm.
that helps in whatever way you need it to.
Right, right. And then, you bring it in the morning, and while you're out there in the morning, this is something that I just read. I don't know if I will do it or not. I'm actually not sure how you collect dew, enough dew, but you're supposed to collect the morning dew and wash your face with it, and you'll have clear skin for the rest of the year. I don't know. Never done it. But
I'm not
maybe
gonna
you could
find
kinda
any
like
dew here. I'd have
is it
to
too
rub my
frozen?
face on a snowball.
Have you seen those things where people, like there's, like, snow all over their car and they just put their face in it and then they back up and it's like a face print? Please do that. I would love
No,
that if you did that.
I
Anyway.
have this strange feeling that February we're just gonna be hit.
Mm.
Supposedly, we're not gonna get any snow this year. I mean, we have a couple inches, but barely. But supposedly it's not gonna be like a big snow year, but I don't know. I
You're
feel
feeling
like
it?
February is gonna be like insane. So we'll see
Yeah.
if I'm right.
I've heard about that. My sister's in Vermont, and she also said it's, like, pretty record low for snowfall
Oh
this
yeah.
year, and
Yeah.
I'm like, "Well, maybe it's just gonna be late." That's my feeling too, is it's just gonna be a late winter, but I don't know. I don't know. That's interesting too. I'm so glad you brought that up because Groundhog's Day, right, is on February 2nd, which is kind of like this kinda weird made up holiday kinda thing, but it actually started with and it has ties to Imbolc because not necessarily Imbolc, but this time of year is when people of that time would notice if little animals like groundhogs, weasels, whatever those little vermin are, started to scurry about and start to eat things. Were they waking up early? Or if they were still sleeping, they knew that the winter was going to be longer. And so they wouldn't wake up either. So it is traditionally like something people would notice, but they didn't have, a groundhog named Bill that yeah, and it wasn't the shadow thing, like, and they didn't pull him out of his hole and be like, "Hey," like, "Are you awake?" They would just kind of naturally observe as, humans.
I
Humans,
mean,
uh,
yeah, that sounds about right, that they took it from, "Let's let nature tell us," to, "We're just gonna tell it to start functioning."
ah,
Yeah,
yes,
that
yes.
sounds about right.
Sounds human. Well, since you can't go collect the dew and wash your face with it, another option you have that actually I don't have because it doesn't freeze here in Southern California, well, not very often, is an alternate. We always talk about simmer pots, right? You know, I love my simmer pots for the season. You can add in rosemary, cinnamon. What's another good one? Lavender. There was something else, orange, right? For the sun, right? Or lemon, whatever you've got. So you could do a simmer pot because I will be, because I love my simmer pots. They make the house smell great. They bring in a little
They
magic and
do.
intention. Okay. But if you are where it freezes, you could make an ice ring. So you could get like a
Yeah.
bunt pan, like a little cake pan, put the water, put the herbs, put the intentions in there, and then you could set it outside. I guess I could set it in the freezer, freeze it, and then you can put a candle in the middle and light it on in bulk in the ice ring, and you've got fire and ice and
Yeah.
all the intentions and items, herbs that you want to bring in this season. So I thought that was
Yeah.
cool.
I was actually thinking about that of, like, where I could set that. Like, I feel it's like, setting it in a bird bath kinda situation, but I don't have one of those. But maybe it's as simple as setting it
Oh,
on the
yeah.
ground somewhere.
That's true. That's true. As long as your dogs don't drink it and be like, "Ooh, thanks
Mm,
for the water, mom." Yes. Yeah.
they'll
Um,
be running around with orange slices, probably
right.
better breath.
And I am definitely not looking to have any more babies right now. But this is also a good time for fertility, if that's you. You might wanna base some
Nope.
fertility rituals. Nope, not you. I'm talking to our listeners, you, the not you, Ash, who I know is probably also a little done with the babies at the moment or forever. Um,
Ever.
I mean, there's gonna be grandbabies eventually, but that's when we're in our crone days. We're still in the mothering days with Brigid. Um, so,
How about baby
but
puppies?
yes, I was gonna just say, it doesn't always have to do only with human fertility. It could be animal fertility, puppies, or if you have a farm, livestock breeding, good time for that maybe. I don't really know things about, like, goat breeding, but, you know, um, it could be the time. It could be the time. Also, um, the land is fertile at this time, not just humans.
That's where I would have started was the land, but
Okay.
we should go with humans, dogs, and cats too.
I mean, you know,
It's somewhere.
it's
Someone with a
somewhere.
farm knows
It's
this
true. It's true.
sees it.
Yes, yes, yes. All right. Well, we've talked about, I think, all of the things that I kind of wanted to talk about, except the tarot spread. I have found a tarot
Mm.
spread that's good for Imbolc. You said you also had one that you do, um, probably in your grimoire, which is so awesome that you keep track of all the holidays, and you probably have. Can you show our beautiful Wheel of the Year printable that people can get if you go to our website? It's linked in the show notes. You can download your own free printable, paintable, colorable, cuttable Wheel of the Year, and you can either just put it up on your wall or you could put it in your grimoire. You could use watercolor. Wow, that's gorgeous. Every time I see yours, I'm
So
like, I
we're
need to do mine
over here.
better. Okay, so what's happening in that one? Oh, we've got
We
Brigid's
got the
cross, the
cross and the
candle.
candle.
I
Yeah.
love it. I
'Cause I
love it
also
so
say,
much.
like, you bless candles on this time
Mm.
of year too, which I
Oh,
feel like is more of the Christian version
mm,
of it, like, somewhere in between there.
okay. Because I think there's Ash Wednesday or something around here too, which they put the ashes and the cross on the forehead, but also there's something about Bridget's about putting ashes out, and maybe it's around. I don't wanna misportray what you're actually supposed to do with ashes, but put it
Yeah.
around, like, a sick person's bed or something like that, and if
Mm.
you see footsteps in the ash, then that's Brigid coming to bless them. So I think, again, just showing that Christianity and pagan, similarities and where one came from the other. It's just interesting
Yeah.
because I feel like, we see them as so separate. But I
But they're
think,
not. They're
you know,
so
they're
blended.
not. They're so blended. They're so blended. Absolutely.
Yeah.
And can you quickly tell me what is opposite of Imbolc on the Wheel of the Year? I always like to see what's before it, what's after it, but also what's across
Yeah.
from it. Because
So,
people in the Southern hemisphere are actually celebrating the opposite.
it's very true. So, Southern Hemisphere is selling Lunasa right now.
Oh, Lunasa. So another
Yeah.
fire festival, and
Yeah.
that is of the harvest. So interesting, the first harvest festival. So we did that episode back in September or August, uh,
Yeah.
August, I think. And so that's so interesting. So that's what the Southern Hemisphere is celebrating right now.
Yep.
So that's interesting. Do you want to go
Yeah.
over your tarot spread, or should I
Sure.
tell them?
Let's see if we have the same one or
Oh yeah,
similarities.
yeah. We didn't
And
see each other.
yeah, I got this somewhere. If someone's listening and it's their spread, let us know because I have no idea where I got this from or how much I edited for myself or not.
Hmm.
I didn't keep record when I started this book, but now it's just kind of stuck with me. So it's a 5 card spread. We have the seed of what's starting to stir, like that initial thing that you need. Then we have the sprout. So once the seed has grown a little, what are you seeing to grow? we have the roots, so what feeds this particular thing. And then we have number 4, pruning. So like you gotta cut
Mm.
back a few things, release a few things. So what needs to be released, and then the harvest of what will be the results from the seed that you start. So, and then it's
I
in
love that.
a cross type pattern. So that was one in the
Mhm.
middle and 4 around.
Yeah. Interesting because
You,
maybe we did get it from the same place, but maybe you tweaked it again for your thing. Because mine is 5 cards as well, same format, and it sounded similar. So I'll read the one I have, and this one is actually from Wayfinder Tarot, the Imbolc Wheel of the Year. And it had the first one, which it put at the bottom, was what should I be planting and growing? And then the so on the left side it had what is sleeping or what was sleeping within me, what is now stirring within me, had in the middle what is being blocked, and then what will come emerge during the spring. So, I guess it is a little different, but, again,
oh,
5 cards, and it has similar themes, like, what are we planting? What was? What is? What will be? What's blocking us? You know what I mean? And I
yeah,
think, that those are pretty standard as far as things that you want to reflect on at, this point of the year or at any kind of pause in the year where you're kind of reflecting. So, I think
yeah.
that that's interesting. Thanks so much for tuning in to this episode of Your Magical Life. We hope you enjoyed it. Drop a comment and let us know what you liked and what you'd like to see more of.
We love hearing from our listeners and featuring your most requested topics in our Q&A section. Be sure to like, subscribe, and follow, and don't forget to check the show notes for bonus content.
Send us your stories, questions, and comments to magicallifepod@gmail.com.
And we'll see you next time as we continue to explore, create, and manifest more magic into our daily lives.
Until then, I'm Crystal.
And I'm Ash. Take care and keep making magic.